The 401k plan retirement system now holds $2.8 trillion in assets on behalf of more than 50 million active participants and millions of former employees and retirees.
According to our next guest, Fritz MarCia, a registered financial consultant, he says if you make one of these mistakes, you could ruin your retirement. And he's going to tell us what making these mistakes is going to do.
Well, I've been a registered financial consultant now for 24 years, and I've worked with over 2,870 clients.
Gosh.
And 10,000 baby boomers a day are retiring. The stock market is at all-time highs, and I've been noticing people are making these same mistakes over and over again.
Now, why aren't we getting it?
People just don't want to take the time to work with an advisor or to do homework on their own and learn about these things.
And how many people do you estimate hold IRAs or 401ks?
There's over 50 million people. $2.8 trillion. It's gigantic.
That's unbelievable.
And there's three major mistakes that people are making every day that you've got to avoid if you don't want to ruin your retirement.
And I bet you it's like the most simplest things too, that we're going to sit here and be like, duh. But I mean, this is really a problem because this is money being left on the table.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, trillions of dollars just being left there because we're just not educating and taking the time, like you said, to educate ourselves on what to do with our money to make it work for us in the long run.
It gets worse, though.
Oh, no. Okay.
Of course. It gets worse. The first major mistake to avoid is that when you retire, the IRS requires you to take an annual distribution when you hit 70 and a half. If you don't, on that distribution, there's a 50% penalty plus interest. That means half of your money going to the IRS.
I don't want half.
That's unbelievable. 50%.
50% of the withdrawal plus penalties and interest goes to the IRS. But it gets worse with the second mistake. The second mistake to avoid is to keep your beneficiary designations up to date. I just had a client last year who got divorced and then remarried, and I couldn't get him to come in the office and change his beneficiary. He went into the hospital for a knee surgery. 9 days later, he was dead.
What?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no, and his ex got, like, all of his money?
You nailed it. She got $300,000 out of his 401k because he wouldn't come into my office and sign a form and update his beneficiaries. That was revenge of the ex.
How many times does that happen?
It happens very often. I've had it happen at least a dozen times over my 24-year career.
Wow.
Now, the third major mistake to avoid, and this is critical, is don't have too much money at risk in the stock market.
Okay.
After the 2008 stock market crash, I had a lady come to the office, potential new client. Her name was Janice. And it was right after the crash. She came in, she was sobbing. She was sobbing. She had just lost half of her 401k in the stock market crash, and now she couldn't retire.
Oh my! I mean, that's life-changing.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And watching all these people over the years making the same crazy mistakes over and over again, I developed a formula called the Safe Money Method. And that's the title of my new book that'll be coming out shortly. And S stands for safety first. The number one priority is to not lose money. That's the rule from Buffett.
Right. Plain and simple.
Right.
Don't lose
and does
money.
that mean keeping it spread across several accounts, or what is that?
That's true, but you have to be very careful that you have asset classes that are completely different. You want to have most of your money in safe money investments because you can't afford to lose your retirement.
Well, they always say your portfolio has to be varied, right? And that plays right into that.
But it gets worse because people get greedy and they want to gamble in the stock market with their retirement money. And it always ends badly because, well, look at right now. The stock market is at nosebleed levels.
Right, it is.
It's unbelievable.
Any major event that happens in the world can have a potential of crashing the market, just like 2008, just like what happened in 9/11. Stock market was closed for about a week. You couldn't get your money out if you wanted to.
Right.
The world has never been as dangerous and as crazy it is right now. So it's more and more important than ever that you have your money safe. That way you can have a happy retirement.
Right.
And I think in finances too, I mean, people start really young. They start these accounts super young. So do you have any advice for younger people and how to travel those waters? I mean, how to get started?
Very simple. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you spread things out. That way, whatever happens, you're going to have a good portion of your money in something safe. Because that makes a huge difference long term when you don't take losses.
Okay.
It's much better long term to have a consistent, steady return than to take huge losses. Because in the last 16 years, we've had 2 major stock market crashes. People don't realize how dangerous it is when the stock market gets as high as it is right now.
Right.
You just don't know what's going to happen. Because we're in a bubble.
Right.
We're in a bubble.
And bubbles usually always pop.
Right.
They always do. Now, the thing is you don't know when.
Exactly.
It could be tomorrow. It could be 3 years from now.
Yeah. And so do you have any parting words of wisdom for us? Anything else? Any other little bits of advice, maybe from the book? So give us a little sneak peek of that.
Well, if you follow the formula, you'll keep your money safe.
There you go. And that's what we're
That's
all
we can ask
about.
for.
Fritz, thank you so much for joining us today. I love your energy, and you look very, very good. I love the pop of color.
And you sparkle.
Thank you. To learn more about the 3 mistakes to avoid with your IRA and 401k, just go online to fritzmarcia.com.
Coming up on the Morning Blend, the Salvation Army stops by to tell us about their new expansion. Don't go anywhere.